Well, good morning, and thank you, Travis. I'm not confused that prayer breakfast is not about the mayor. It's about our community coming together to glorify God. So I tremendously appreciate each and every one of you being here. But just to get things kicked off, we're going to have a little interaction. I'm going to ask a few questions to see who's awake. So with a show of hands, how many of y'all are confident that our government, not the city of Mobile, but government in general, are doing the right things to secure a safe and bright future for your children and grandchildren? Well, we've got another question. How many of you are willing to get off the sidelines and do something about it to secure a better future for yourselves, your children, and your grandchildren? Yeah, there we go. Well, I hope everybody raised your hand because this morning's speaker, Michael Bossman, has a timely message, and he's going to tell you exactly what you can do to achieve that. And additionally, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege here, with Travis's permission, he's already given it to me, to introduce a prayer initiative that I think and hope that everyone should participate in. And this prayer initiative comes from two things. One is a biblical directive, and the second is a conditional instruction from God. Approximately 65 years after Christ was crucified, the Apostle Paul charged Timothy and the church by saying, "First of all, I then urge you to, with petition, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving, be made for all people, especially kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness." Today, kings do not rule kingdoms. Instead, governments rule cities, states, and nations. But virtually every aspect of a citizen's life is influenced or regulated by government. Seemingly, all governments at every level in the United States today are attacking every aspect of our traditional Judeo-Christian values. Whether we live peaceful and quiet lives is not just determined by elected officials who are creating the laws, it's also determined by those officials who are creating regulations. In addition, we are impacted by those who interpret and enforce the laws and regulations. Thus, to follow God's word, we must pray not only for the elected officials, but equally for all appointed officials and government employees having authority over us in any way. I mean, think about it. We all know the elected officials: the president, the governors, the mayors, the judges, the legislators, commissioners, sheriffs. The appointed officials: Supreme Court justices, secretaries of commerce, state, defense, administrators, department heads, military leaders, other persons with authorities, police, and countless other people who are writing these regulations and enforcing them. Whether elected, appointed, or just employees of government, they all are having influence over us, and we should pray for all of them. Now, typically, when we disagree with government, we take action and we choose to fight in the flesh. However, God says plainly says that this should be done in the spiritual realm through petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving. Although we know that God is all-powerful and all-knowing, He's chosen to let us help Him change the world through our prayers. How this works is a mystery, but because of our limited understanding, maybe we don't understand it, but it is a fact that through our prayers that we can change the world. By not following God's instructions, we've yielded to Satan the ability to influence government for his purposes. Throughout the ages, all across the globe, government officials have made decisions subjecting themselves and their fellow man to the wrath and punishment of God, which has caused the rise and fall of countries, kingdoms, and empires. The colossal influence of government can be altered in the spiritual realm through our prayers. Fervent, daily, intercessory prayers, not just rote prayers, but on your knees before God, crying out. His will and divine intervention must be called upon for all elected and appointed officials and government employees. So I really have a few more questions. How many of you have really earnestly prayed for government? Thank you. Do we think as church is really earnestly praying for government on a daily basis? Then I ask the question, could the dysfunction that we're seeing in our society, could it be because we failed to do this? I think so. Now, for those of you who really want to get off the sideline and become more engaged, I do want to introduce a prayer initiative called Shalom Mobile. Shalom Mobile. This project is based upon God's instructions to a Jewish king 3,000 years ago, which was recorded in 2 Chronicles 7:14. Most of you in here know that, but it reads, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and heal their land." For those involved in this initiative, we believe that this conditional instruction from God, we believe it to be real and that applies to God's people today. This project is not about praying for political parties, nor is it a function of a particular organized church. Rather, it's a voluntary union of believers from many church backgrounds connected by a common faith in Jesus, common obedience to his word, and common focus in prayer. That common focus in prayer is for good government, local, state, and federal. So my last question, what if there was a committed and obedient group of believers who fervently prayed every day for each of those decision points to turn to the will of God, believing God will do exactly what he's told us he will do? He will hear, he will forgive, and he will restore our land. My hope is that you will join Shalom Mobile, and on your table is a little tent card, and it has a QR code on it. And also on there is the link to the website. Before you leave, please either take a picture of the QR code or write down the website, go to it, and on it, it says, click it. It says, click here, I'm in. So if you do that, then we will reach back out to you, or the organization will reach back out to you, engage you, and tell you how to help change our community. And I would close by saying this. It's 2,400 years ago that a respected Greek philosopher named Plato made this comment, or he wrote this. If you do not take an interest in the affairs of your government, then you're doomed to live under the rule of fools. There are no fools in here. Let's go get them. Thank you.